All right, good. So there is no echo here. All right, guys. So thank you guys for coming back to senior year prep for juniors. And so, how many of you guys were here last week? Okay, so two of you guys were here last week. All right, so we're gonna have this every other week. Only reason why we're having it 2 weeks in a row this week is because we missed a week because of a whole bunch of stuff, right? So I wanted to make sure you didn't miss any of the topics. So the first thing, there's a clipboard on the tables. It's one there and it's one over there. If you guys can check it, you probably already filled it out. So just look for your name and just check to make sure that you have already written in the first period that's best for you and the second period that's best for you. Because after this week, I'll have you guys come during the week that you put down on your sheets. I'll try to alternate, the first week it'll be what you put down as your first choice, the second week, whatever you put down for your second choice, just so you won't keep getting pulled from the same class. Okay. Um, and just go ahead and just make sure that that's correct. And I'll use that moving forward. All right, cool. Hey, Kamei. All right, I'll get you checked in. You'll pop up later. All right, here's yours. I think you already had a copy of this before, though. All right, were you here the last meeting? You were here the last meeting, right?
First one, yeah.
And can you just check that clipboard over there behind you and make sure that everything is right on there for you? So these are the meeting dates that we're going to have moving forward. So it's going to be February the 2nd, 24th, March 10th, 24th, April 6th, 28th, and May 12th, 26th. That's all right. All right, so those are pretty much in stone. I checked all the dates. There's nothing else going on. Um, things happen sometimes, so things could change. Who knows? So that's pretty much, you can go ahead and screenshot that if you want to. So after maybe tomorrow or the day after, once I get that sheet updated, I'll go ahead and put you guys in for all of the classes just so that you'll have them on your calendar. All right. And this is Mr. McBride. He's the new counselor here for Alphabet R through Williams.
Anybody R through Williams are here? Last names?
No?
No, really? No.
None of these guys?
Does anyone have an R somewhere in their last name? Okay, there we go. We're somewhere. All right, we're somewhere. All right.
I don't think we had any R's through Williams in this group here. They must be in the next two groups. So this is what, week 3, week 4, week 3?
Let's see. My start date was the 24th, 27th. Feels like it's such a blur now.
All right. So he's just coming back, hanging back, seeing what's going on back here today and meeting some students. So if any of your students pop in, we'll see. All right. So the last meeting that we were here, and also the email that I sent you guys this morning to remind you about the meeting, any links that you see on the PowerPoint, just go back to the invite that I sent you this morning. All the links are in there. Okay. You can put that back there if anybody comes in. So of course, you guys may or may not know about the College and Career website. I'll show you that in a second, but basically anything that's going on that you need to know about as far as activities, upcoming events that I'm promoting are going to go up there, and it's a whole bunch of different links to show you how to do a whole bunch of different stuff. So as we go through the course of our classes here, you'll be using that for different things. Also, I gave you guys some information about the Step Up to College booklet. So this link is in your email too. This is a nice booklet that has a lot of information about college planning in it. Essays, interviews, SAT, ACT, the difference between those, how to do a college tour, how to do a college visit, how to put together a college list, how to do all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a link to the booklet, and it's a digital. If you're a person that likes to have stuff in your hand, hard copies are up there on the cart there. You can take one when you go. Okay. Transcripts. All right. So I gave everyone a copy of their transcript. So do you guys have it? All right. So do you guys know how to read them?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to show you how to read those today. We're going to look at a few samples so that you can kind of understand what yours means in relation to college planning. Okay. So on your transcript, you guys have your name and address on the top, right? And then the top, I'll just give you one just so you'll have it. In the top,
Thank you very much.
in the top, In the top left-hand side is ninth grade, right? You see that whole block of classes. And so you'll notice on your transcript, they only put your final grade. So you don't have to worry about each individual marking period going on there. And then you'll see how many credits each class is worth. You see that column? You see the actual grade. You have pluses and minuses or just no plus and minus. Then at the bottom, it'll show you how many credits you have for that particular block. And then you'll see a number there. That's your grade point average. So that everyone see that. And then they also say grade point average is GPA. Okay. Then over to the right at the top is 10th grade. You'll see the same exact thing. All right. Then at the bottom on the left-hand bottom, you'll see a box for 11th grade. And there shouldn't be any grades there, but you might have grades there. Do you have grades on yours? All right. So you have grades in the classes that you did last semester. However, your average is not going to change until the end of the school year. So if you look down at the bottom on the left-hand side, you'll see something that says, there's a gray box that says type GPA rank. You see that? And it says GPA and rank. So the GPA there is as of the end of last year. Whatever you're doing this year doesn't factor into that. Now, you may have received your report card for this year and it has GPA and stuff on there. We've been trying to get that wiped out. Don't pay any attention to that. It's meaningless. So this is at the end of the year. If you have to go to a college fair or anything like that, this is what you'll take with you. Okay, it's an unofficial copy of your transcript. Okay, so you'll see also on your transcript, some of you have a class that says it has an H by it or a WH. That means that it's a weighted honors course. You may see AP, that means advanced placement. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the transcript? This is the core piece of information that if you're thinking about going to a four-year college, and if you're going to go to a community college, they're going to ask for this document. Okay. All right. Now, the last class that we had last week, we talked about your school profile. Okay. So I'm going to show you something, the school profile, because nobody ever talks about this. So you guys think when you guys are having conversations with yourselves about how colleges select students, what are the conversations that you guys are having or the rumors that you hear? How do you get into a college? Say grades and GPA. Okay. That's not the only answer.
SAT scores.
Okay, SAT and SAT scores, but there's more.
If you take any AP classes, they also look at that.
Yep, they'll look at that. There's a whole bunch of correct answers, so let's keep going. What are some of you guys, if you're talking about getting into, let's say you're applying to go to Villanova or Princeton or something like that? Are people very secretive about telling people where they're going? No? Because sometimes people can be very secretive because sometimes they feel like if I tell somebody I'm going to the school and they apply, that's my competition and they're only going to pick one of us, right? And so when you guys are getting accepted to these colleges, you're not competition with each other, okay? The college is really going to look for your school profile. So this is something that's on my website that I gave you. So I didn't give you the link to the beginning of the website, but this school profile link is connected to my website. Okay, so everything else is there. So this school profile, every school in the United States is supposed to have one of these. Okay, and it's usually 2 pages, but I'm extra. It's 4 pages, but I'll have it be 2 next year. So it has information in here about your principal, your superintendent, your athletic director, address, phone number, CEEB code. I forget what CEEB stands for, but basically it's a code that is connected to your school. So when you apply for the ACT, the SAT, and some other factors, I think the NCAA clearinghouse, if you do sports, this code identifies our school because I'm sure there are other Norristown high schools in the country, right? So that makes it specific to our school. But mostly the profile has information about what grades the school has, because every high school doesn't have ninth grade, right? Some have like 10, 11, 12. And it asks like, what is your ethnic breakup of your school? How many boys, how many girls are in your school? Is your school free or reduced lunch? How many students go there? How many gifted students are there? How did COVID affect classes? Because they want to know that stuff. Because I guess the current 9th and 10th grade are still going to be affected by COVID, even though you guys have been in school this year. There's still been a number of disruptions, right? So they're going to track all of that information. They want to know what kind of curriculum do we have here? Do we have honors classes? Do we have AP classes? Because every school does not have honors and AP, right? There are some schools that don't. Some private schools don't have honors or AP. I guess they just say that they're teaching that class at a higher level. Because sometimes we have students that come here from private schools and they kind of get a little bit upset that they didn't get that honors credit. Miss Riley's shaking her head. What do you know?
I went to St. Francis in middle school, and you weren't allowed to take any classes that were higher levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. I'm sure it is. I don't know if maybe because of staffing or because they just think that it's a higher level, because a lot of times we do have people who come from some private schools and they think that they automatically should be, put in higher classes, or that the grade should be higher because this is public school. So that conversation happens sometimes. So I'm not quite sure, but I will look into that though. They also want to know if we have any special programs, if there's a link to a website so that they can see what colleges your students have been accepted to. Okay. They want to know about your test scores. So we haven't really updated our SAT scores in a while because of COVID. It's kind of off. They want to know how your grading is being done, what their graduation requirements are. And most importantly, they want to know about your grading scale and how many AP and honors classes you offer. So when I say that you're not being judged against another person sitting next to you, you're actually being judged against your school and yourself. Okay. So if you see here, if you could just give a number, I didn't count these, so I don't know. How many honors and AP classes do you think we offer? Just give me a guesstimate based off of what you see here. You don't have to count them either, because I don't know about 50 classes that you have available to you. Now, there are some schools that have dual enrollment, and that's something that we're going to have next year. And that means that basically you can take classes at the community college or another college that we have a contract with, and those classes can go on your transcript.
Actually, this just occurred to me. So AP classes count as college credit, correct?
If you take the AP test, you get a certain score on it. So you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
That's right.
So if you get a 3, a 4, or a 5, then you possibly could get that class waived at your college. So if you're going to a state school like Kutztown, East Stroudsburg, what else? Westchester, Edinburgh, those schools, they will accept a 3, 4, or a 5. The private schools usually only take a 4 or a 5. Okay. So you can get those credits waived.
That's what I thought. And with the dual enrollment, I mean, still the same thing. Like those count as college credits towards your major. So is there one, like it seems that taking an AP course, is that the same as doing a dual enrollment because you're getting credits for the courses the same way?
Keep asking the good questions. Good questions. Because that's the big debate, right, that everyone has about should I do AP or should I do dual enrollment? So the AP, the colleges and other people prefer the AP classes because everyone pretty much takes the same test, right? It may be 6 versions of the same test that's floating around, but everybody has those 6 versions of the same test. So some colleges may find that as a more accurate measure of what you learn to make sure, everything is subjective. So you could teach a history class and talk about certain thing. You could teach the same history class. All of you could be history teachers, but your approach may be different. Right. And the grading could be very subjective, but when you take that test, everyone has the same test. It's like the Keystone. You guys take different versions of that as well, right? So some people prefer that because of that format. The dual enrollment courses is subjective because it goes by the grade that you get from the instructor that you have at that particular college, right? And so you can either take the class at the college or you can take the class here at the school. And if we have a contract with the community college, it goes on your transcript. And so you get credit for that. And so, so you get a grade. So as long as you get a C, then the college that you're going to can waive that course. So for a lot of students, it's really better for you to take the dual enrollment class because most of you guys, to be honest, don't get 4s or 5 on the AP test at this school. Okay, for whatever reason. So you could take that test, get a 1 or a 2 on it, or you could take dual enrollment and get a C on it, and you get credit for it, even though you may have taken a test and you got a 1 or a 2 on the test. You got it? Also, with the dual enrollment class, for those of you, because we'll have it next year, that's what we're working on right now. If you take it at the community college, it gives you an opportunity to actually be a college student, be on campus, and you're sitting in class with real college students and older students. So it kind of gives you some more confidence in what you're doing because you see, oh, okay, I can handle this. I am college material, right? And just seeing the scenery just helps out a lot for you guys. So when the colleges see that you have these classes on here, they want to see how many of these opportunities you have taken advantage of. So of course, they're not expecting you to take every single AP and honors class. But if you have all A's and B's all over your transcript and they see that you took 2 honors classes, they know that you really could have taken more, right? So typically we'll see students maybe have the students that are really trying to really push themselves may have about 4 or 5 honors/AP classes on their transcript every year. Okay, so I think the max that you can get in freshman year is 5. You can take all 4 main classes and then like a AP psychology or AP environmental science or human geography or something like that. So that's what it is. They want to see what's available to you and what you took advantage of. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about the school profile? We'll keep talking about it as we go along in the other classes.
Why can't tech students take AP classes?
You can.
You can?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was told I couldn't, yeah.
Why?
Because they're considered elective, so we have our 4 main classes.
Well, this is the problem. The problem is, and we're gonna have to, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep this recording because I got to give you the tea. It's not that you can't take them, it's just that you're only here for half a day, right? And so you have to look to see what fits into your schedule. So sometimes it doesn't fit into your schedule the way that you need it to fit in. So let's say if you want to take English, you might have to take weighted honors English instead of AP English because the weighted honors English fits in better, but you can take AP classes. I know plenty of students that are at tech school and they take honors or AP classes, but it's about fitting them in. That's the problem. So we can have a conversation on the side because I sense some drama that's getting ready to occur right now with what people told you. And did an adult tell you that or did a student tell you that? Both? Okay. Adults here or adults over there? Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if it was a situation where it may not have fit into your schedule, right? And then also because you're in tech school, you really can only take all core courses the first couple of years, right? You have to take English, math, history, and science. Now that you have the block scheduling, you have more space to fit things in than before.
For AP courses, you have to have teacher recommendation, right? You can't, or can anybody just, enter the course? There's no like gateway that says like, okay, only certain students are eligible for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that?
So I'm going to give you the political answer and I'm going to give you the T. Which one do you want first?
Ooh, I'll take the political answer first.
I like that. So the political answer is you have to have a teacher recommendation and a prerequisite. But some of the AP classes now, you may not have to do a teacher recommendation. Okay. Now, if you want to fight that, I'm not going to say fight. Let's just say that you want to advocate for yourself. That's a nicer word, right? So then what will happen is you can talk to your counselor. You can talk to Miss Van Buskirk, who is the assistant principal over all things classes. And they will go through your record and look at all of your um, testing, keystone testing, PSSA testing to see some trends, to see if you have some strengths in those classes. And that can be an option for you too. Okay. Now, so those are the political answers. Do you want the T? So the T is that if you don't get that teacher recommendation and we don't put you in there and you think you deserve to be in there, then you see your counselor and say, Miss Mitchell told me that there's a form that we can sign. And if we fill out this form, you have to put me in AP classes. Okay. And so with that form, we'll have a whole conversation with you and pull up all this stuff to see if it's a good option or not. But then at the end of the day, if that's what you want to do, we're going to put you in there. But if you go into the class, you can't come out. Okay. Because we know that there are some times where maybe somebody just subjectively, your teacher just don't like you. Or your behavior problem, or you skip class a lot, right? And people don't like that. We want you to come to our classes. We want you to come to stuff. It's supposed to be 20 people in here. I don't know where everybody is, but I'm glad y'all are here, right? A lot of things happen, or sometimes sometimes you guys might not be doing your best and you're doing like C work, D work, but you really could do A and B work, but we just can't, we just don't know. We can't tell because they're going by how you're doing in that particular class. You could be having a bad year. You're just not focused that year. So there is a form that you can get filled out and we have to put you in that class, period. Okay. All right. So this school profile, they asked for this. They want to see this. I'll give you another example. Pottstown High School. I'm not going to say that one. Let's just say there's some schools in Philadelphia or maybe some private schools that don't have honors and AP classes. So a lot of those schools have dual enrollment and they will take the dual enrollment and that kind of substitutes some things for them. Okay. All right. So any questions? And those of you who had those other AP questions, you can stay behind because the next group doesn't come until 9:45. Okay. Because I see one of y'all about to go talk to the president of the United States. All right. I don't think I have time to do this. What time is this? Over 9? Okay, I got a little bit of time. All right. Oh, man. Don't you hate when that happens? Okay. All right. So these are just some sample transcripts. Okay. These are real students that graduated maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And one of them actually works here now. That's all I'm going to say. They know it because I've already brought their name up before. You guys may have seen this in some classes that I did. I come to your class last year and do one of these things in any of your English classes last year? Okay. So you already know what these look like. This student right here received a 1.3 grade point average. Also, this is the other thing that I didn't discuss with you. If you're trying to apply to a 4-year college right out of high school, in most cases, you need to have a minimum of a 2.3 GPA at the end of your junior year. So when you guys come into this building next September, whatever your grade point average is that day when you come in, that is the average that you get that's sent off to the school. It doesn't change again until graduation. So a 2.3 is the bare minimum. So if your grade point average is like a 1.9 or a 2.0 or 2.1, you still have this marking period to try to do a little something to get it pushed back up those little points. It could possibly happen. So we can sit down with you. We have these little grade calculators. We can do some projections for you and see if that's a possibility. But they're looking for a 2.3 or above. If you have the 2.3, they're definitely looking to see if you have some honors or some AP in there. They want to hear kind of how that happened. And so now some of the colleges are even taking a 2.0 or a 2.1, 2.2, which I had an attitude about that because some of the colleges, some college admissions officers that I know say that some of these colleges are just trying to make sure they fill their quota, right? And they're taking students that they know probably can't handle 4-year work They go to the school for a semester, they don't do well, and then they end up transferring to a community college to try to get themselves together. But you guys are the COVID kids, and you all have stories as to why your average might be low. Because I'm visual, so I don't know how I would have done if I was a student last year and it was virtual. Ugh, right? I can listen and take notes, but I need to see stuff. I need to touch stuff, right? And so there you all have a story that you can talk about in an essay, you can talk about in an interview. And if they see you did stellar work in ninth grade, that you're doing stellar work this year, but last year stuck like trash, then it was COVID related. So we can have conversations about that. So if you have less than a 2.3, 2.2, in both cases, we're going to recommend that you apply to a community college if you're planning to eventually get a 4-year degree or bachelor's degree, and then you can do a transfer later. So in another session, we are going to talk about community college too, about that whole transfer process. Now, if your grade point average is like a 3.5, 3.6, then you can also start looking at some of those classes that schools that are more highly selective. And we're going to talk about that later. Basically, highly selective colleges means that they only take a certain percentage of their students, like 30% or less. And so those schools are very competitive. They want a certain GPA, they want certain test scores, all that kind of stuff. All right, you got that? All right. Let me fly through this. So you see here, this student here has a 2, or the first person had a 1.3. Okay, so this person is definitely going to have to go to community. Also, if you are a student athlete, you have to have a minimum of a 2.3 to go to a 4-year college and participate in sports if you're doing D1 or D2 sports. And it's not a 2.3 on our transcript. They're going to take your transcript, drop out all of the electives, and put all your main courses there. I think maybe some world language will go into there, and then they recalculate it. So it needs to be a 2.3 on their thing. So we can show you how to do that too. Okay. All right. This person has a 2.4 GPA, but they did have a couple honors classes in here. You see in what happened here in 11th grade. It's tragic, right? I'm trying to figure out. I used to know who this person is. I can't remember anymore who this is. All right. So this person, for some reason, just had some personal stuff going on in 11th grade. I don't know what they did in 12th grade. And the reason why there are no grades on here on the 4th year is because when you send your transcript, we put your roster on there. So that's why you want to make sure you have your roster as accurate as possible. And this is another thing. I'm going to bring it up later, but just in case I forget, scheduling is going to be coming up very soon. Okay. That's the slide I'm probably going to skip because I'm going to run out of time, but we'll probably talk about it again. So they're going to start visiting your classes. I don't know if we're going to have an assembly to talk about the classes for next year. For those of you, especially who are considering going to a 4-year college, your grades have been very, very solid. You have had 4 or 5 honors and AP classes on your roster. I'm highly recommending that you do not take the early graduation option, meaning the people who are taking the early graduation option, they can leave after the first semester because you guys are pretty much going to be done all your credits by then. Okay. But colleges want to see some consistency in your transcript, and they want to see something called rigor, which means they want to see that you're trying to challenge yourself. Okay. If you do end up staying here the whole year, they want to see if you've been taking through.
This is Angel back in
I forgot about that.
If
If you want to take 3 or 4 honors classes, AP classes, they want to see that you're taking that same thing the next year. Okay. If you are going to take the early graduation route, there are a couple of students that we did give it to that are up in the top 30% of the class, but they have already set up like a solid internship opportunity that's directly related to their career choice. I got another student that wants to be a pilot. They've been taking flight school all this time. They're still doing flight school. They got a job in an airport, a local airport. So they're learning all the ins and outs of that whole industry. So colleges like to see that stuff because this student is actually trying to apply some things so that they can make themselves look better. So we did let those students go. We couldn't make them like not go, but we gave them our blessing, so to speak. So there's a whole meeting that has to take place before you do that. But this person ended up getting a 2.4. So this person still qualifies to get into a 4-year college, but the college most likely is going to ask for a copy of their report card. Okay. 3.6 GPA. Also want you to not be afraid of getting a C. So we're not saying that Miss Mitchell said get a C, because this is being recorded. Okay. I'm not saying get a C, but I'm saying don't avoid a class because you think you're going to get a B or you're going to get a C. Getting a B in an honors or AP class is like getting an A in a regular class. Getting a C is like getting a B in a regular class. And so if a college sees that you have a C, and if you see the student here, they receive C's in math every year. Algebra 2 weighted honors C, geometry C, pre-calculus C. It's just not their subject. And so if this person is going to major in law, or they're going to major in something that's not math related, colleges don't care about that C. They want to see that the student is doing, and they try. You can tell that the person has ability if they're taking pre-calculus. So they do have some math ability. Okay. But even with the 1, 2, 3, 4 C's, they still pulled off a 3.6 GPA. That's a solid B plus average. Okay. This particular student got a 4.59. I know who this is. They graduated from University of Penn about 2 years ago. Nice student. And he had a lot of extracurricular activities. He played soccer. He did all the student council, National Honor Society, all that particular stuff. Did very well at University of Penn, and did well on their standardized tests too. You see, they got these 690s and 620s and stuff like that. Rank is 9. Okay. And we'll have another day that we talk about SATs and ACTs too. This particular student right here, 2.28 GPA. Remember, we talked about being right on that line. Okay. So this particular person actually works here now. And this was my student. I didn't realize this student's grades were this bad until senior year. And that's because the student didn't do so hot overall. But what classes did they get A's and B's in?
No.
What are all their A's in? Band and choir. They were so focused on band and focused on their music. And this is what happens with a lot of students that are serious art students or serious music students. They get so caught up in the music, they forget that sometimes we got to get these grades in these other classes, right? And to give you the short story, this student applied for a lot of colleges, did a lot of interviews that we have here, and got rejected from every single one of them. Every single one of them. But kept applying anyway. And so one of the counselors here that's not here anymore knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that works at a HBCU, Historically Black College and University, that really enjoys his style of play. And so when they were in the area, they did some interviews and just kept keeping in touch with him. It was 2 schools. And so they eventually let him come to the school and gave him a scholarship. The first semester of school, what do you think his grade point average was? Based off of his work. 2 point something. What do you guys say? You think he did well? Or you think he did okay? Or
Yeah, right.
first semester 4.0. Because they got the inkling that, oh, I need to do better in my classes as well. And then, of course, the student checked out the school. They really enjoyed that school and enjoyed their time there. So can I tell you who it is? Because I'm allowed to. Do you know Thaddeus PA? Mr. PA? He works here. He's always in the newspaper. He was just in the newspaper the other day. NAACP. He's been going to Harrisburg. Black guy with the locks.
Yeah.
You see him walking around. That's him. one of the most amazing people that I have ever met in my entire life because he's very passionate about everything. He did well the whole time he was at Bowie, did amazing. And so that's what they saw when they interviewed him and when he talked, they saw what he wanted to do with his life, you know, and some regrets about some things. And so these colleges, if they're doing their job, they're going to ask you those type of questions and not just judge you based off of what your transcript says. Because again, he speaks very well. He's very enthusiastic. He's very positive. I just assumed he had a B average, and this is what he had, right?
I'm sorry, I have to run because I have a meeting.
All right. Thank you
This
for
was
coming.
really great. It was very nice getting to meet everyone.
All right, so we talked about that. You got a link in your calendar that's going to give you guys some information just about the classes that were offered last year. And I think this went to a dead page. You're probably going to have to keep refreshing it. It just didn't work for me. Maybe hit that arrow in the corner. Okay. So this is the program of studies from last year. You're going to get the new one soon, but I'm going to tell you that at least 90% of this is going to stay the exact same way. Maybe some new electives and stuff like that. So you want to take some time and just go through here and see what classes are available to you. And then connect with your counselor. Obviously, I'm not going to use this recording for the next one because I just told all the people's business. You know, so you want to make sure that you connect with your counselor. All right. All right. So I'm going to stop this recording. Nobody else is in here anyway. And then I'm going to turn this off and stop recording.